House Oversight Committee, and Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, it's good to see you again. Thanks very much for being here this morning. I want to start off with your reaction to this indictment on Donald Trump.
Exactly like Don Jr. had said. I mean, it hasn't even been 24 hours, Maria, since I have seen the document that the FBI has that literally has not one but two separate payments to Joe Biden and his son for over $5 million from a foreign national. And of course, the DOJ just yesterday decides that they're going to be bringing charges against Trump. So I don't think it's by coincidence or mistake, but I can tell you one thing, Maria. I know Speaker McCarthy's fired up about this. I know House Oversight is. And I don't think that the DOJ realizes the beehive that they're poking.
Well, let's talk about that, because, Congresswoman, you were one of the few lawmakers who actually saw the Biden bribery document yesterday. What can you tell us about it? Does the Oversight Committee do anything about this now? What is your next step? And tell us what this document says.
Yeah, so I actually stayed yesterday. As you know, we were in recess for a little bit, and I actually spoke with Chairman Comer, so subpoenas should be going out next week. But what I can say is absolutely just as we had speculated and had heard, that this goes back to when Joe Biden was the vice president, that, again, there was two separate transactions of $5 million, one to Joe Biden and one to his son, Hunter Biden. It is from Burisma. I can tell you that the source had met multiple times to get this information, that the FBI also in that document had redacted information that talked about an individual who has actual proof and whether it's emails, text messages, electronic correspondence, to actually get that information. And what I'm hearing, Maria, what I'm seeing is this is absolutely grounds for impeachment. And isn't it ironic that the Biden administration, the corrupt DOJ, and the FBI are accusing President Trump of exactly what Joe Biden is guilty of? And so it's in my opinion that this does change things a little bit, because as we know, right now we're coming up on the 2024 election cycle. But Maria, it's also important to note that they moved around the money the same way that they moved around the money for personal payments to Joe Biden's family. So remember those 20 shell corporations and companies? That's how I believe that they paid Joe Biden.
This is just unbelievable, Congresswoman. These are the most serious charges ever leveled at a president, and the mainstream media will not report it at all. And so you're saying that on the very day that we see this document, you and your colleagues saw the document where apparently what I've got here is a Burisma executive said $5 million to Joe Biden, $5 million to the other Biden. On the same day, we have confirmation that there was a bribery scheme and Biden was paid off to make policy changes, that Trump is indicted.
Correct. And it's even more important to know that, the individual that came forward, I mean, I was speaking with Chairman Comer, this is some very, very scary stuff, right? It is very possible, and I do believe now that we have to kind of be careful about the timelines that we're releasing here, because the individual is still an active source, an active human source, that is. And so we have to make sure that this person doesn't get hurt. And I think that it's very likely with the information that's been brought forward that that could happen. And so it's very likely that this president is going to be impeached. And by that, I mean Joe Biden. And rightfully so. I would be saying the same thing for if it was a Republican. If you're guilty of public corruption and selling out your position, you don't deserve to be in office.
So when would you expect that? What is the timing for an impeachment trial?
Well, I think it's really going to depend on how Speaker McCarthy chooses to move forward. But what I can tell you is we have more than enough evidence right now. I know, again, Chairman Comer is going to be sending out more subpoenas next week. And it was incredibly alarming, Maria, because in the actual document, the source is referring to the big guy, and the confidential human informant understood that to be Joe Biden. And remember, that was the same term that was used in Hunter Biden's emails and the Hunter Biden laptop to refer to Joe Biden.
So the big guy was mentioned in this document?
Correct.
Wow. Meanwhile, we know there was 10% held by H for the big guy in that term sheet that they came up with when they were doing a deal for CEFC, the Chinese energy company. 20% for Hunter, 20% for another partner, Rob Walker, 20% for another partner, 20% for another Biden, 10% for Jim, and then 10% held by H for the big guy. You're saying the big guy is Joe Biden.
Yeah, and in fact, in this document, the confidential human informant absolutely also specifies that he understood that to be Joe Biden. And then the individual continues forward to say that it would take investigators over 10 years to fully to find what they've done and how they wired the money.
Joe Biden is laughing this off. He was asked about this yesterday, Congresswoman. Watch this.
The bribery allegation, Congresswoman Nancy Mace says there's damning evidence in the FBI file that you sold out the country. Do you have a response to the congressional Republicans?
Where's the money? I'm joking.
Mr. President,
it's a bunch of malarkey.
He says it's a bunch of malarkey. He says, where's the money? No follow-up in terms of the money's probably in all the homes that you've been buying over the last decade. What does he own, like 4 homes?
He owns 4 homes and way more than you can pay for on a government salary. But I'll tell you where the money's at. The money's at, and it's going to be testimony from when we subpoena bankers that were doing those transactions. Joe Biden is absolutely laughing because he's nervous. This is not a joke. We have the information. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to keep the leftist media, who doesn't even really like him that much, from actually picking up on this. Because as you know, Maria, it was the media that really was responsible for exposing Watergate. And so when we bring forward this information, we're going to work very hard to get the American people and the media this document because you deserve to see it. It's not classified, but he won't be laughing for too long.
Well, this is just extraordinary, Congresswoman. You are a member of the Oversight Committee. What can you do to actually see justice here? Because we're all watching President Trump now be forced to defend himself. Did Trump do the same exact thing that Joe Biden did with documents, classified documents? And did Trump actually already declassify those documents, making it actually a lesser issue than what Joe Biden did?
Yeah, it's 2 separate things. As you know, Trump had declassified documents of which he was protected in bringing those documents back with him. And then, of course, we have Joe Biden that apparently had all of these documents in his garage, the same garage that Hunter Biden also happened to inhabitate. So the point is that, yes, it's 2 standards of justice. But as you had mentioned earlier, the DOJ now bringing these charges on the very same day. The last time I came on your show, I pointed out that the DOJ has also been cooking up charges against whistleblowers who are coming forward bringing information about Joe Biden and his family and public corruption. So I do believe that, one, the speaker is going to have to decide how we are going to proceed forward when we can start impeachment trials, because what's happening right now is we have more than enough evidence. Jim Jordan, Representative Comer have been working very, very hard on this. And I do believe that that will be something that's going to develop probably in the next week or so.
This is incredible. Of course, we're going to be watching. You all in the Oversight Committee, led by James Comer, doing an excellent job. We'll be waiting. Congresswoman, thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Paulina Luna. All right.